Hello, Wastrels and Adventurers. I'm Caedo Genesis. This is a bi-weekly podcast called the PIPCAST 3000, episode 35. We put this up every other Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific, and we talk about video games and news about them and a Fallout topic, because we like talking about Fallout. These are my two awesome co-hosts, BADCompanySarge.
Hi there.
And Jared of Jar Red Gaming.
Hello.
And are you guys ready to talk about stuff?
Yeah.
Sure.
Because we spent almost an hour trying to figure out some of the topics.
We're doing our homework, man. You know, it's just proof that we are serious about what we do.
Super serious. Getting up to the point to where we can actually sound like, at least a little bit, like we know what we're talking about. Don't believe it for a minute, by the way. Just like, you know, I just like talking about things, to be honest.
Yeah.
With you guys, especially. So, what is the tip of the day?
Tip of the day. Call your mom figure, your mom, whatever you call her. It's Mother's Day. Don't forget to call if you can't see her in person, which right now is probably not the best time for seeing your mother in person. So give her a call. Tell her you love her. Tell her you miss her. See her soon. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
Yeah. Same.
Was that okay?
Mom! Mom, are you listening?
Wouldn't that be a trip?
Oh man, that would be crazy. I couldn't even imagine. Sarge brought up a good point that in the UK things are different.
Yep.
So
I mean, sure, you can call your mum if you want to, but it was back in March. It turns out I just gave it a Google.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I guess we're late to the party.
Yeah.
And I imagine it's
Damn,
different.
Americans always showing up late.
Oh. Oh.
Jared feels bad, but it's true.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I'm not gonna argue it.
All right. Well, we were all on time for I was the late one, actually. No, yeah, I was the late one.
I mean,
yeah, it's true.
Jared was the only one on time.
Well,
yeah.
I couldn't remember, honestly, if we were doing it at 6 a.m. our time or 7 a.m. So I was here at 6.
I thought it was 7.
I think it was actually 7, because I actually looked back at Discord past conversations, and it did say 7. So I think I was actually early, and I just dumb.
Yeah. Hey, but you're on time, so that, you know.
Yeah.
It's good. Anyway, we should move on to other stuff instead of just talking about time. What was the comment of the cat, Sarge?
I hate Fallout 76 at the moment. The economy is shot, and the community is becoming more toxic because of it. I'll come back to it after things cool down. And that was by Lee Smith.
Thank you, Lee Smith.
Wow. Brutal.
So we kind of went with this one because it creates a little discussion about dealing with the toxicity of games, and sometimes where if you're looking for it, yeah, you'll probably find it kind of situation, or you may have just had like isolated bad incidents in the game, where I don't know how your experiences have been, Sarge and Jared, but like I've barely ran into anyone who's toxic in the game itself.
Yeah. I mean, mine's been vastly positive, despite the fact I'm a Fallout 76 YouTuber, which says a lot. Because I will say 99% of the community are actually really nice, lovely people. But it's always going to be the 1% shouting and screaming that draw your attention, rather than everyone who's just playing nicely.
I think it is important to have that in mind, I suppose. Like if you're burnt out on the game, you're burnt out on the game. Like that happens too. But if it's more the community itself kind of weighing on you, maybe consider like what kind of things you're reading or watching involving 76. Because if you're watching, like, I don't know, other YouTubers who happen to use 76 as a topic whenever it's bad, whenever things are going bad, that may be a sign that it could be you just need or should change what you decide to watch. Or can not tell you what to do. but it might be a good idea.
There's plenty of positive coverage of the game out there. You just have to look a little deeper and subscribe to my channel.
Yeah. And we do joke about, like, and talk about, like, the bad things about 76, don't get me wrong. Like, that's obviously a thing that occurs within the game. Within the game, too. And even when we say, like, this game is trash, it's never in a malicious way. And I think that's an important distinction to make, too. Any game that I'm struggling with, I end up calling it trash.
Yeah. Stupid game doesn't even give me God mode. Trash game.
Yeah, I know. So, that may be worth considering too, whether or not something is intended as, you know, to hurt, or just as, you know, a bit of fun.
I will say, if you're dealing with a toxic community as well, you don't have to engage with that community. You can walk away, and I've advised many people of that in the past. If you don't enjoy something, walk away from it. It's the best move.
Yeah. Good advice.
I received some valuable, I think I've said it before on the podcast too, some valuable knowledge from somebody I respected very much. Don't take the bait. Is like, if you get tempted to engage in something that, like, you already know is a losing battle, because you can do that too, or like it's something that's going to burn so much of your energy trying to say your point or whatever, or if you're just talking to another anonymous on the internet, which does not matter a lot of the time, if not all the time, maybe worth considering how you spend your time too. Is it having fun, or, you know? No,
you're right. It makes me think, like, if you go into something expecting toxicity, maybe you're more likely to find it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's like comments like this, whether or not this person is doing that, but like, this feels like for me, before I ever played it, all I heard was how bad it was and how toxic it was and all this stuff, and I was like, you know what, screw that, I'm gonna make up my own mind. And I had the little that I have played, even before Wastelanders and everything, it's been fun. I've been enjoying it, and I think part of that maybe is going into it with an open mind and not expecting to find all this horrible stuff, and just letting the game speak to me personally and let me make my own way in the game. And I've got no complaints as of yet. I have very little experience with it still, but I'm enjoying it.
I want to mention, I don't know what it's called, but like the knowing thing, or the expecting toxicity thing you were talking about, Jared. Know that search engines are designed to hone in on whatever you're searching for, right? We all know this, but if you're limiting your search, because algorithms exist too, if you're limiting your search to things that are related to toxicity in video game communities and stuff like that, results will appear a lot more often involving those things too.
Right.
Yeah. Well, on top of that as well, humans do have a negativity bias, so it's always a lot easier to find the bad rather than the good.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, don't look up, you know, Fallout 76 is toxic in a search bar, because you're gonna find exactly what you're searching for, but not necessarily what you need, I think.
Just any is X bad will always come up with an angry yes answer.
Yeah. So maybe, I don't know, when it comes to searches, maybe make it more neutral too. So then you have, you know, a little bit of everything, and if you're like, I want to see the positive, you'll have those there too, without having to search, you know, Fallout 76 isn't toxic or is good, you know, kind of thing, because that's just the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Anyway, lots of gaming news junk is happening. Let's start at the very beginning. We had a couple of things involving Assassin's Creed Valhalla, a trailer and a subsequent gameplay with air quotes trailer. Either of you want to say that? We've all seen it.
Yeah. I mean, let's start on the controversial bit just to get that out of the way. The gameplay trailer is not a gameplay trailer. It's a teaser trailer. I would say before the Pipcast as well, if they'd called it teaser trailer rather than gameplay trailer, the like-to-dislike would be swapped, because right now they're very negative, because it is literally not a gameplay trailer. It's cinematics and fancy stuff, and that is it. And that's like the controversy around it right now. But the actual main trailer itself, I think looks pretty cool. And this is like the first Assassin's Creed game I am really excited for. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up at launch, because probably not going to, but I'm definitely down to like watch playthroughs and stuff, especially because I live in 1066 country, which is where this game is most likely set.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is a game about like, I was about to say my life. Not my life, but so much stuff that I've just been around for, and oh man, I'm actually genuinely excited. It's,
cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of wonder if there was some sort of hiccup. Like the trailers look awesome, by the way. Like I don't want to say it's just the fact that they tagged gameplay on the Xbox live stream or Inside Xbox thing. Like that's what caused everybody to go nuts. But I wonder if like what like their media manager or like SEO expert or whoever's controlling the YouTube channel, like I'm sure there's a specific person or team. I'd laugh if it was the team, honestly, dedicated to like uploading to the channel and adding titles and tags and all that stuff. Gameplay is when it's attached to whatever is new, like that. You're first, essentially, if that game releases and that's the top search term for your video.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's why, but it doesn't make it right.
No matter what, it's a mistake they've made, which could have very easily been sorted before it ever caused any controversy. If there was no controversy about that, then it'd just be, oh cool, a new Assassin's Creed game with Vikings. Which was the story up until the second trailer came around. Which maybe the like conspiratorial part of my brain is like, oh, maybe they did this on purpose to get more people talking about the game, because a bit of controversy always builds up more stuff. But it's Assassin's Creed. I mean,
it's not gonna disappear.
Yeah. It's not like some tiny indie project which needs all the extra news coverage. All the big channels and outlets are going to be covering it regardless.
And it makes me wonder why they don't just say something like, oops, that wasn't meant to be. I mean, maybe it's not as easy as that when you're a company of that magnitude, but like, hey guys, we screwed up. This is obviously not gameplay trailer. We admit our mistake, and then maybe give an actual gameplay trailer just to, I mean, I don't know.
There was someone who said it was like disappointing, or someone from one of the companies, either Xbox or I can't remember who actually makes Assassin's Creed, but there was someone like high up who specifically who specifically said like, oh yeah, this was disappointing or whatever. But it's a bit too late, because once you've already got the outrage about it, even going back on it and doing the right thing, the internet doesn't care. The internet loves wielding pitchforks. If you show them a pitchfork shop, it doesn't matter if you tell them it's closed now. They're breaking in and grabbing them.
That is true.
Yeah.
Good point.
You're right.
As for the game itself, are either of you two thinking about picking it up?
Yes.
I am interested, but I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game since 2.
Oh man.
Dang.
Such a modern Assassin's Creed person. I haven't played one since the original.
Oh dang.
But it's because of the setting. Like that's how they're drawing people in it, and it's it works. Because we're interested, because Norse mythology is cool, and Vikings are also cool. I mean, to a lot of people. Yeah. So
the fact they're raiding England is what's getting me, because that's going to mean lots of Saxons, which is like my bloodline more than anything. Plus Vikings are a bit of my bloodline too, so it's like, it's literally a game about my ancestors, which is badass.
Pretty awesome.
I do want to know more about specifically when it's set, because if it does turn out it's going to be 1066, which was like the Battle of Hastings, the place I'm from, although the battle actually took place at Battle, but calling it the Battle of Battle sounds kind of stupid, so I understand why they changed it. But it would literally be Saxons, Normans, and Vikings fighting in a huge battle, and God, I would pick up the game then, because I just couldn't resist, because that has never been in like a video game of this sort before, and God, it'd be so badass.
Well, I hope that it is. I hope that
that would be cool. And I can tell you guys, like, if you haven't played Assassin's Creed since those older games, these are nothing like those. They've changed, and as many as there are people that like the new games, just as many people hate it, because they're that different. They definitely seem more focused on combat than assassination, and that has annoyed people, even though you still do assassinations, because obviously you can't not in a game called Assassin's Creed. Very vastly different than the games that you guys played before. I would say I would recommend, if you're thinking about playing this, either getting Origins or Odyssey, just to try it, to get a feel for what you can probably expect from Valhalla.
Yeah.
I personally like where they've gone with the series. I think it's there were so many Assassin's Creed games that were just kind of like the same thing over and over again with new settings. Now it's something different with new settings, so it's kind of, to me, it's a new, fresh start or something. But yeah, just throwing that out there. It's completely different.
Yeah,
especially from the first one.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'll put, I put Odyssey on my list, or on my wish list, because I think that's more of a setting I would be into. It's like I said, that's how they get people. Was it Egypt? Was Origins?
Yep.
Right. Not a setting I'm super into. But what Roman Empire in Odyssey seems cool. And you mentioned like Leonidas is part of the
the majority of the game takes place after the Battle of Thermopylae. So like Leonidas and the 300 Spartans is kind of like something that people talk about, kind of a thing. So the intro, I mean, without spoiling too much, is kind of like a look into the past, and then the rest of the game takes place in the present, if that makes any sense. Again, I don't want to spoil anything if someone hasn't played it, but
so like the NPCs are just walking around like, oh, you hear about that God King guy, and they're like, oh, I saw that movie.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like you can visit. I think you can visit the grave of Leonidas, essentially.
Oh, cool.
So it's that much time in the future. So
gotcha.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. If you like Greek stuff, I thought it was really cool. And you get to hang from a giant statue's granite scrotum if you want, and you get an achievement for that.
I'll be honest, it doesn't make me more excited to play the game.
It's just something to know about the game. Like, there's no other game, I think, in the world or the history of gaming where that's a thing and you actually get rewarded for doing it.
Oh, I'm sure there's Leisure Suit Larry exists.
Oh, yeah. That is true. Anyways.
You know, something that's also true is Obsidian making more games.
Yep, that is factually correct.
Yep. And a small team in Obsidian is making a game called Grounded. So it's a very much an indie in-house type thing that they're doing. This is going to be a survival game based on a little bit of a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids type world. I think we've talked about it a little bit before.
Yeah, we talked about it on the initial announcement trailer. But now we've got some gameplay.
Yes, we have a good chunk of gameplay, actually. I am also trying to get in the habit of explaining what we're talking about, because sometimes people don't know what we're talking about.
Yep.
Or listening back to it, I'm like, wow, we didn't talk about what it actually is. So
Over
I
here,
think that's
just
important too.
over here, just assuming things.
Yeah, right. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids survival game is the thing, and it's going to have up to 4-player co-op as well as single player, and a storyline to follow, and just an interesting perspective from what I've seen. There's one hilarious bit about the game though. Teenage kids that you play as say, at least the one that they were playing with for the preview, would say "oh yeah" like loudly whenever they would build something in a survival game where you build lots of things. So you can imagine that would get stupidly repetitive, and a lot of the comments involved with that video were complaining about that and please turn off the voice kind of thing, because that would get old pretty fast. Or it might have been just, they only have so many voice lines or even placeholder lines for characters.
They could just say nothing.
they could say no. I would prefer that myself. I played Conan Exiles. Like, when you chose your character's voice, you just chose the tones that they grunted in most of the time. Like, and that's fine. Why change that for a lot of things? Monster Hunter is that way too.
Are either of you two particularly excited about the game coming out when it does?
I want to play it.
Yeah, I would be interested. I wouldn't say I'm like particularly excited about it, because I didn't even know about it till we were talking about it, I think, in the last PIPCAST.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I feel
it
like
looks
that'll be
cool.
most people. I mean, I have no interest in it, to be completely honest. It's like, the one unique thing about it is the fact that you're shrunk down and in like the back garden or whatever. And I watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I'm familiar with that concept. This game is bringing like literally nothing new and exciting that appeals to me. It looks like a very generic survival game with a different kind of setting and thing going on with it that way. But that because that setting doesn't appeal to me, it's suddenly like, oh yeah, I'm not interested in the game. Because
Fair enough.
I've played plenty of other survival games. I don't really need another one.
Yeah.
It's just...
And you can still like go back to those ones if you feel the the itch, right?
I got tons more stuff to do in Conan.
Yeah,
So-
same.
I think if nothing else, it is the fact that it's very similar to like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and that was for me, I guess, more prominent movie of my childhood that I can. So I think maybe the game is drawing on the nostalgia of that sort of setting. And one thing that I mentioned to Caedo off the PIPCAST was that it reminded me of, I don't know if either of you ever played the old Army Men games. Very similar, because you're very small and you're plopped down into a world that's very large. Obviously, in this game, you're not Army Men, but same kind of, you're small and big world. So it kind of reminds me of that too, because that was a big game for me when I was a kid as well. So I think it definitely draws on nostalgia.
Yeah.
Again,
I mean, there's even a more recent example of like big character in a small world.
Yeah.
Which is Kingdom Hearts 3. I think there was there's previous Kingdom Hearts games that did that too. But the Toy Story world, like you're the size of a toy. So
maybe that has something to do with it too. Toy Story again was a very big deal when I was a kid. So maybe it's just drawing on the nostalgia factor, which can be a very powerful factor. But again, I'm not super excited. Will I play it on launch? Probably not, honestly. Will I play it eventually? Maybe, if I have people to play it with. Don't know if I'd play it on my own, though. It depends. We'll have to see more, when more is available to see.
Yeah. But I'll give it a shot. I think, I mean, there's several games at this point that I haven't bought yet that I still want to play, so the list is stacking up. Whichever ones I'm going to remember are the ones I'm going to play. People also won't forget the nonsense that surrounds Last of Us Part 2. At least it sounds that way.
That was an interesting segue.
Thanks.
Yeah, so now we're talking about The Last of Us Part 2. Man, are you going to be good at summarizing this, Caedo? First off,
No.
actually, first
No,
off,
I'm not.
we're not going to reveal any spoilers in this. Well, I don't even know if any of us actually know any of the spoilers, to be fair. But no spoilers. However, the whole drama surrounding this is that The Last of Us Part 2 kind of script, I suppose, the whole plot synopsis kind of thing, got leaked online. There's no actual, like, confirmed source right now as for who leaked it. The most likely thing seems to be that someone just managed to get in and hack it, or whatever. Magic hacking happened, and the plot got leaked online. This has created, obviously, a lot of drama. A lot of people saying, like, oh, I've read it, and it looks like it sucks, so I'm not going to play it. And then, quite rightly, like, the developers and everyone involved kind of fighting back and saying, yeah, you've read the overall kind of synopsis, but that's completely different from playing the game. Which is true. Because, you know what? I own Star Wars, like, the original Star Wars in book form. Believe it or not, the book is not as good as the movie.
Wow.
Yeah. Turns out if you just write down the plot without any of the interesting visuals and stuff about it, things aren't as good.
Yeah. But, well, it can go the other way, too. Where the book is
can.
better than the movie.
It can.
The
No,
book better
not
than the
always.
movie tends to be a case of the book is made before the movie, though.
Mm.
When you're
That is
writing
true.
a book based on a movie, it's very rarely
Oh, it's
as good.
the book's based on rather than the other way around?
Yeah, Star Wars didn't start out as a book.
Okay.
I picked that because it would be such an obvious example that no one would misinterpret. And the first person who responds misinterprets.
Thanks for clarifying, Sarge.
No worries.
I knew.
You sound a little bit worried.
I knew.
Oh.
I knew.
Yep. It's alright.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
Well, now we're on the same page. Thank you.
Yep.
Ah, same page. Get it?
Books. Hardy.
Good stuff.
Honestly, the whole nonsense with The Last of Us 2, though, it bugs me mostly because of the whole reading it is not the same as playing it. Like, I think I've established in previous PIPCASTs as well that I'm not a fan of The Last of Us or anything. I've not even played the game, but I know that if I read the plot synopsis, that wouldn't get me interested in the game. I'd have to actually play it and experience it. It's completely different. Man.
Yeah.
Actually, Caedo and Jared, what's your favourite movie? And describe it, or explain kind of a general plot thing in just a few sentences.
Lord of the Rings, shiny gold thing to mountain, the end.
Yep, there we go, that's Lord of the Rings covered. Anyone want to watch Lord of the Rings now? Sounds great, doesn't it? Ring gets thrown in a mountain, man, that's got to be an amazing movie.
Oh, I got one.
Go for it.
The Matrix. We're all batteries in the future, and we're in a video game.
Oh, actually that one's a bit better, but still. I mean, for the original Matrix, not as good. See, mine would be story is told in the wrong order, and things happen to lots of people interconnected. Any ideas on what it is? No? It's a
Star
different movie.
Wars?
My favourite movie. Nope. Pulp Fiction.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
It's like, even if you do break down like all of the plot points and have all of it, it's never going to be as good as the actual completed product. That's why games and movies aren't books. Sure, you could adapt them, but you generally make the product for the medium it's going to work best in.
Good point.
If it's gonna be good, like generally the ones that are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even the ones that have been bad, The Room would not have had anywhere near as much of an impact if it had just been a book.
Oh,
As a
for sure.
movie, it shines bright.
Sure does. There's a lot of space in that room.
I mean, there's actually some half-decent cinema-y, I don't know the right word, stuff done in that. Like, there's some genuinely acceptable, like, CGI and stuff that is in the room. that you don't notice. But because, like, everything else is so bad, it got famous. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything else to add about the whole Last of Us thing?
We didn't talk about The Last of Us itself for very long.
Oh, it's a video game.
I think just to kind of echo on what you were saying is, context is everything, and you're just not going to get any context from a script or an outline or a summary or whatever. And like you said, video games and movies and that sort of medium is very visual experience. I mean, I would say probably more than half of the experience comes down to what you are seeing. Yeah. The other parts, the other bits is some of it's music, some of it's, the voice acting, whatever. But most of it is visual. It's on your screen, and you're experiencing it. You're in that moment, and you're in the ride. You're on the ride. On a piece of paper, just looking at it, you're not going to get any of that. None of it. So, yeah, it blows me away as well why people are jumping the gun, I did play The Last of Us, the first part, and it was an exceptional game, in my opinion. I thought it was great. Storytelling was great. But yeah, if I'd read, it would have just seemed like your basic, average, probably like end of the world scenario. I mean, there's tons of them. That's not a new concept. But I mean, it's the nuances, it's the context, it's the emotions in the storytelling that sets it apart. And you're not going to get that on paper. Especially an outline or a summary or a script or whatever it is that came out.
Yeah, scripts don't have the same impact as, like, even a book. Yeah. Because, like, you're reading as if you're acting out the character rather than,
Yeah, it's like X person sees this thing and says this thing. That's it. A book is much more descriptive and whatnot, but I don't need to get into books. But
because we have no link for this one, I think it's worth mentioning too. If nobody notices, we do have timestamps on screen. If you like particular topics or want to listen to those ones, and or even skip to the Fallout topic, which we like. We like it when you do listen to the whole thing, but it's not a forced thing. That's why the timestamps are there. But also, the information that we're talking about is linked besides The Last of Us Part 2 because we didn't want to link anything that had spoilers.
Yep. And I was searching for quite a while and could only find spoilers.
Yeah. So, there you go.
And I didn't look at all because I don't want it spoiled.
Yeah.
As I'm going to play it for sure.
There are other controversies going on in gaming, though.
Yep.
That's actually a majority of our topics.
Oh, yeah. Hey, everyone, I realize things suck.
Counting them. This is a bad game.
I apologize as well, because I feel like it's pretty much all the stuff I added is just controversial things. So, how much do you guys know about the whole Doom soundtrack controversy that's been going on?
A little bit.
How closely have you been following? Okay.
I haven't been following it. I only just read the article that we have linked.
Yeah. The article linked as well is really good. Like, Eurogamer did like an actual full article. All the other stuff I found was like a few sentences of the company sucks, or the composer sucks, or just basic stuff. But they've actually done good, proper journalism. Shout out Eurogamer. Good on you. Actually, who made this? Matt Wales is the one who did this. So well done, Matt. I'm sure you're listening and appreciate me thumbs-upping this. Yeah. It was a good little article, and the initial kind of issue that came up was that the soundtrack kind of remix thing for Doom Eternal is like more compressed, less definition, that's not the thing. It's basically just not as high a quality and feels like it was put together a bit worse than Doom 2016. And this then came to light when, is it Mick Gordon? Is that the name of the person?
Yeah.
Oh god, I can't. Yeah, Mick Gordon, who's the person who did the composition for Doom 2016 and did some of the stuff, it turns out, for Doom 2020, is that what you call it? Wait, what's the actual name of it?
Doom Eternal?
Doom Eternal.
Doom Eternal, that's the one. Doom Eternal. Yeah, he did some of the stuff with that. He was then saying, like, oh yeah, the sound waves or whatever, that clearly isn't my stuff. He kind of went on about it and said, like, oh yeah, it's really bad quality, and echoed a lot of what the internet was saying. And that was all technically true. And he even said that he probably wasn't going to work with id Software again, who are the people who made Doom, and they ended up posting a real lengthy little post, which Eurogamer, once again, actually linked their sources, and I think they're now my new favourite news site, because they actually report properly. I love them now. It's the first article of theirs I've read, but it's actually really good. Sorry, I'm fanboying over a news site. Oh, it's great. But, what was I saying? Oh yeah, sorry, I really did get distracted there. Yes, id then came back and pointed out that they tried to give him lots of time to work with it. They gave him extended time. He was contracted to deliver a minimum of 12 tracks and was supposed to do, like, everything. That did not happen. It was literally a case of he took way too long, was given, like, extra deadlines and all of that stuff. They point out that, like, he's a really talented person. They're really nice to him in this whole response, but they do point out they're probably not going to work with him again, because they then had to use, like, just some basic in-house people to work on all the tracks and ship them out at a worse state, because Mick Gordon just wasn't able to get the stuff done in time, even with, like, extended deadlines. And it was a six-week extension that they gave him as well, which is a lot of time.
That's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Do we know why? Like, was he just lazy or had other things going on?
I think it's because it's part of his process, or maybe he goes big for a lot of things. Because I remember one specific project that Mick Gordon himself was planning on doing was getting as many metal vocalists as possible to make a metal screaming choir for the Doom sound. I don't even know if that ended up in Doom Eternal soundtrack, but I can only imagine how long that would actually take to put together, especially if he was just, throwing tweets out there to find whoever was on board. And that, for one, that's just waiting for reply. Like, I think we may have some experience with that when trying to, work with other people or throwing an idea out there to see if anybody wants to join. But I don't know how committed he was to that idea. But I can imagine, like I said, that it would take a long time to even execute that idea.
I mean, they do point out that most of the tracks they got were kind of very ambient, just what you'd hear in the background and never pay attention to stuff. And only one featured was, quote, the type of heavy combat music people would expect. Yeah, so... And it was 9 of his mixes he got out of the 12 that was contracted, apparently. Something definitely went wrong with this whole process, and although creative and having big aspirations and stuff is all good and well, you still do have to meet a deadline in the end.
Yeah.
And he just didn't do that at all.
Or, like, in spite of being such a well-respected composer, which he is, like, there's still rules to when you work with other people kind of thing, or like there has to be respect
team
for the rest of the team as well.
And I will say that carry on, sorry.
I was gonna say, just because they're all trying to get the same thing to happen.
And I'd like
Teamwork.
to say the reason that I'm kind of siding with id more than Mick Gordon on this, which is wrong. You should always support the individual rather than the big, horrid company, grr. But the reason I'm siding more with them is because Mick Gordon kind of did have this kind of online outburst about it all, and the company has been literally perfect in all of its responses. They have been respectful, they've provided as much information as possible, they've not done any personal attack, they have done literally nothing wrong in this whole little thing, other than having to make a soundtrack that wasn't as high quality as they wanted. And the final thing they kind of end with as well is like, our team has enjoyed this creative collaboration a great deal, and we know Mick will continue to delight fans for many years ahead. They compliment him like several times. They're clearly not just doing an internet beef thing. They're just trying to clear up all the controversy that's happened and explain what went on. And I wish every single game company reads through, all the employees, everyone who ever has to make a post, reads through this, takes notes, because it's the best you can do. And
this thing linked in the article that we linked, the source basically for what's his name, Marty Stratton, the executive producer of Doom Eternal, posted, is lengthy, because I didn't read the entire thing. I've been skimming as you guys have been talking about it. But yeah, there doesn't appear to be any animosity whatsoever on id side. It's just that like things didn't work out the way everybody wanted it to.
Yeah, it is a 2,312 word post.
Yeah, it's a big post. I'd say it's worth a read. I think context is very important in like things like this too. Raging on Twitter is too easy.
Yeah.
And jumping on a bandwagon, also pretty easy.
That's for sure.
But taking the time to actually read, the lengthy stuff too, the details that are left out is good. Okay, good things about games. There's an update.
There are some.
There's an update for Jedi Fallen Order. That's a game that happened that a lot of Star Wars fans. A game that happened to be published by EA.
Yeah.
That people liked.
Wow.
The bar was pretty low, but they surpassed it.
Yeah.
So now with the recent update with Jedi Fallen Order, is it a free update?
It is.
It's a free. Oh my god! It's a free
I know. It's EA
Cal's
and
lightsaber.
it's free.
Yeah, you can turn Cal's lightsaber red.
Yeah. Which I don't know. That almost feels like that should have been included originally.
I know, right?
It's only like one of the two or one of the three main colors of every Star Wars ever being blue, green, and red.
Yeah, it's like 5 or 6 months later.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still cool, but
there's a new game plus. There was additions to it besides just the lightsaber color. New Journey Plus, which is probably New Game Plus, I would guess. And you unlock the red lightsaber and Inquisitor uniform for Cal. So you get a little bit more than just the lightsaber, but that was like the headline of the article. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool. There's definitely people are definitely paying attention in a favorable way towards this Star Wars franchise that just began.
yeah.
Well, I mean, you mentioned it's published by EA, but I double checked and it's developed by Respawn Entertainment, who are amazing.
Yeah,
like,
who are very good.
But they went over to EA with Apex Legends, which was a huge and really good battle royale game, which brought in the ping system to video games, which now is becoming huge. And yeah, they've always been pretty great. Like, I love the games they've made out. Literally, the only game you've probably not heard of as theirs is... They're literally amazing. Everything they touch turns to gold. They are perfect, let's put them up on a pedestal, and then anytime anything goes wrong, shout down some other developer for no good reason.
Oh,
it's
they're
the
Obsidian.
only logical thing. Yes! No, they're clearly better than Obsidian.
Oh, okay.
Genuinely, they've not done the Obsidian thing of making like a couple of great games which everyone loves and a whole bunch of other just mediocre games. It seems like everything they've made has actually been really good.
So they're like Supergiant, but not indie.
Yeah. They're the Supergiant who people might have actually heard of. But of course Obsidian is best because New Vegas.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah.
We have to circle back. Yeah. All right. Well,
did either of you play Fallen Order? By just
no.
Oh.
I didn't have. It was around the time. When did it come out? If it came
Probably
out late
last
last
year.
year, then it was just Borderlands and The Outer Worlds that I had time for.
Yeah.
Well, as someone that did play it from beginning to end, it's pretty good, actually. If you like Star Wars, it's probably one of the better ones to come out, since there really hasn't been any good Star Wars games in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably since Knights of the Old Republic, maybe. I don't think there was anything else. If you don't really count Battlefield.
Oh, the new... I mean, when I think of good Star Wars games, there's literally 3 that jump to mind, which is Jedi Fallen Order, Knights of the Old Republic, and Star Wars Battlefront 2, the old, like, PS2 one.
Right, the original.
Yeah. That's
I'd
the
agree.
trio of good Star Wars games.
Yeah. I think I have fond memories of Republic Commando. I didn't play it very much.
That one was actually not bad, if I remember.
It was a long time ago, a very long time ago.
It wasn't super amazing, but it was different.
I remember that the squad controls seemed very ahead of their time at that time.
Yeah.
There was another Star Wars game I did enjoy, but I can't remember it. Oh, one sec. I'm gonna actually go and grab it because it's on my shelf.
Okay.
There's a lot of older Star Wars games that were really good. Like when we're talking like LucasArts time, before Disney takeover.
Yeah. Yoda stories. I'm just kidding.
Oh God.
I played it too, but it's not good.
Yeah, I think I played it once and I was like, this isn't nothing I want to play. This isn't Star Wars. What is this?
It's
Star Wars
terrible.
Demolition.
Star Wars
Demolition.
I found the game on my shelf. It's not really a great game, but you go around in lots of like different vehicles or stuff and just smash other Star Wars characters and vehicles.
I have
It was
never
fun,
heard of that.
But it's a PS1 game. I spent a lot of time playing it. I think I spent a lot of time as like Boba Fett because he counts as his own little vehicle and he's tiny because there's like the actual Rancor and stuff that you can unlock as well. Or you can have like Luke Speeder with a Jedi who's never shown up before, and he force pushes vehicles. It's plenty of fun, but it's an old game.
Yeah, I've never heard of that one actually. That's
Did that come out
interesting.
around the time as the car wreck-em games were at their peak?
I have no idea. I'm gonna have to Google it. It came out in... Oh, it's got a 63% on Metacritic.
Oh.
12th of November 2000. However, 90% of users liked this game, according to Google.
Oh yeah, so that was around the time, like let's see, Twisted Metal.
Yeah, I was gonna say Twisted Metal.
Yeah, first Twisted Metal came out in 2000 or not 2000, 1995. Carmageddon, that's not the original. 97, that's when the original came out. Vigilante 8 was probably around those years too.
From the creators of Vigilante 8 and Vigilante 8 Second Offensive.
Called it.
Nice.
I had a lot of fun in that game, though.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, there's a lot of older Star Wars games that are really good. As I mentioned to Caedo, I think when you stepped away is like if you go back to when LucasArts was still LucasArts making games before Disney took over and shut them down.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of really good old Star Wars games, but as far as like modern, and there just hasn't been anything. It's not that they haven't had good stuff, it's just that there hasn't been anything in years. Yeah. You had Knights of the Old Republic, then you had the online game, which actually wasn't too bad, and then just nothing until Fallen Order. And it was good. I enjoyed it.
I think Star Wars Galaxy's MMO was pretty big for a while too, right?
I remember
Never heard
it,
of it.
but I never played it. At that time, I think I still had dial-up internet when everyone else had moved on to like DSL. So I didn't play a lot of online games back then, but it was a big deal to the people that played it, because I do know some people that used to play it, and it was one of those games that had a really tight community, kind of like EverQuest and stuff like that. Like I think I think they shut down their servers and everything, so you can't play it, but I guarantee you if they hadn't done that, they'd still have a huge community playing it to this day. It had that much of a loyal fan base. I remember seeing it and wanting to play it, but
And for anybody wanting like the full circle thing, remember that Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Sith Lords, was developed by Obsidian. So,
Yep.
boom.
Boom.
Obsidian's everywhere. New Vegas, put 'em on a pedestal.
New World Order.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember but it was with the BioWare engine, I believe. Yeah, the first one was BioWare, EA, and Obsidian.
Oh.
And the second one was Obsidian with the BioWare engine. So both Knights of the Old Republic game, Obsidian, all Obsidian. Obsidian did all the work, of course.
Which is funny because,
I'm exaggerating.
well, much like how New Vegas is a lot of people's favorites, and Obsidian kind of took the reins and did their own thing, KOTOR 2 is a lot of people's favorites when Obsidian took over and did their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny, you know?
Yeah. It's almost like they know how to make games.
Wow.
Yeah.
They make some very good games,
Yeah.
and that is a factually statement.
A lot of experience, though, is what you're saying.
Yeah, with other games
With
as
other
well.
games that people don't remember.
Yep.
Well, New Vegas did release in a not so great state. I know that Sarge brings that up every so often.
Yep.
To keep me on the level. But we also had a question about Borderlands 3 being broken yesterday when we were trying to play it together
Yep.
with its new cartel update, or the Iridium cartels, I think is the it's like the most recent free DLC for Borderlands 3 that we didn't get a chance to play yet until yesterday. And
I mean, I was playing it literally right before the PIPCAST started as well.
Oh yeah,
It's good.
it is very fun if it works, if it doesn't crash all the time. Unfortunately, yesterday when we were trying to play together, we had gotten to like the actual map area that the DLC added, and like within a very short time, my game would just crash if specific. I think it came down to my screen settings mainly.
Yeah.
Because I had it set to borderless window, which is apparently something you really shouldn't do with this game on PC.
Yeah.
But I only discovered that after crashing 3 times and trying to play the game cooperatively with Sarge, and trying to actually get through the quest.
Yeah. I'd like to say that for me, everything runs pretty much smoothly.
Yeah.
But so it isn't like, oh, everyone's having this problem. No, the game's very taxing. Like, I've got a good rig. I've been running the game at medium settings on full screen the whole time, and it runs fine. But I wouldn't want to put it up to like ultra and stuff, because I'd have lag and crashes and all of that bad stuff.
Yeah, because it is taxing. It is a bit of a resource hog. But yeah, it is fun. Like after I cooled off from being frustrated at it crashing all the time, went back in, set it to full screen, dropped it down to medium like Sarge's settings, and then put VSync back on so it wouldn't tear all the time. And yeah, it worked fine. I was able to go through the mission itself, I think 3 times in a row.
Oh, that's good.
Without stopping. So, it worked. Just had to fiddle with the settings. I don't like having to do that with games to get them to work though. I'm a bit of a crotchety old man when it comes to that. So yeah, if you haven't given it a chance, the update for Borderlands 3, the Cartels one, and Mayhem 2.0 is fun, because we had it set to Mayhem 4 when we were playing together, and it was fun and interesting.
There's lots of new modifiers and stuff.
Yeah, but I think we also talked about this a little bit last PIPCAST, or the one before. I know we mentioned the update. We just didn't play it until this point.
But we have had the chance to play it now, which is good.
Yeah.
And I've got like a solid full week or something. I'll have chances to play it, and then I'm back to having to work super hard. So yay!
Yay! Well, I'm glad it's not the kind of work that Valorant producers are having to put in.
Hey. Yep. So this is actually a news story I stumbled across whilst trying to research other stuff, I think, in the PIPCAST. I think it was whilst I was looking for the whole Last of Us Part 2, looking for an article on that. And there was a horrible, horrible news story, which I was like, oh, this would be great for the PIPCAST. Let's get everyone nice and depressed. And, man.
Now, are you reconsidering, or are you going to...
I'm going to carry on. I will ask, have you two read this article?
A little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I have the context.
Okay, so the overall general story is one we've heard a million times, but which keeps happening, which is, did you know women who play games online get harassed a lot?
What?
Gee whiz! I'm gonna play the ignorant card. Gee whiz! I had no idea, Sarge.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's this thing that's been happening forever, and one of the Valorant producers spoke out about it recently. There was, I believe it was a streamer posted a tweet one time where she did get genuinely annoyed at some guy it was like a teenage boy being very harassing to her and just a jerk. I was taking that long because I had to think of a suitable word I could put in because all of them were much more harsh.
It's a good
but
word
really
still.
really just being a bad person towards her. She kind of snapped a bit because if you're getting harassed non-stop, it's fair enough. And yeah, the Valorant producer then spoke about how she doesn't use voice chat a lot of the time and avoids solo queuing, wants to be with a team of people she knows because Valorant is a competitive game which I've never watched before and know basically nothing about. So apologies there. But if you're playing a multiplayer competitive game, you want to be able to speak to everyone to have the best tactical advantage. But for a lot of women, it's a case of, oh, if they hear me speaking, what are the chances I'm going to be harassed simply because of my gender? Which isn't fun.
It's a very real and big issue still, which creates an unnecessary kind of barrier of entry too. Video games are for everyone. I think we can all agree on that. Video games are for everyone, so we kind of need to foster that, I think, and encourage that where we can. Having this competitive games are a whole another beast. Even the environment, barring the harassment of male to female or reverse, the just generally people trash talking can lead to all kinds of horrible directions.
Yeah. Well, they do even mention this. The producer says, with any competitive game, we expect spirits to get high and things to get tense. We're not going to ban someone just because they got passionate about winning or losing. But I also know that some experiences can go beyond enthusiasm. Sometimes they extend to harassment. That's what we're not okay with. Because, if you're just oh, beep you, buddy, screw you or whatever, after losing, that's not something which you really should just be, permanently banned from a game for.
But they're drawing a line.
Yeah. But if you're specifically going after someone, harassing them just non-stop, it's very troubling to hear every single time where somebody would rather just opt out and not deal with it at all and hinder their experience with the game just because they know it's not going to go well. And just having that expectation that because they're a woman, they're just well, I can't realistically expect that I'm going to be treated as a teammate, kind of thing. And that sucks a lot.
It's a bummer.
So I don't know how I can encourage in this because I don't play competitive games, but even if you're not a person dealing with this, you can still call people out. That's what I would suggest. Because if it's uncomfortable for you calling people out, imagine being on the receiving end of this harassment that's going on. It's not good.
Right. Well, imagine spending money on a game, you're excited to play it, and then you can't play it because of people like that. That's just, like I said, that's just a bummer. That sucks. Just straight up sucks.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, we all work, we all make money so that we can buy things that make us happy, and then someone else is taking that happiness from another person. It's just come on.
So,
I mean, a general message of just be nice to people online is the simplest way about it.
yep.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, they do say, another quote in here, there's lots of good quotes in this article.
There
I
is.
can't solve society, and some of these issues are really, really deeply entrenched, which is true.
Absolutely.
It's too often you'll see people who are like, oh, well, I'm just joking about and having a lot of fun, and it doesn't matter if I do this terrible thing, because I find it amusing or whatever.
It's just a prank, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's important to step back and think about what your actions actually are doing and consider the consequences to the other people besides yourself who are involved. If you think of things purely on a, well, what impact does this have on me kind of scale, then nothing's going to change in your life because you're not thinking about all the outside influences.
What Sarge is saying is, be considerate of others.
Yeah.
Maybe show a little deference. Maybe try to show some understanding, even in the heat of battle with people in a game.
Yeah, because it's still just a game. It's not real battle. They still have
Yeah.
some self-control.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you're being overly aggressive and it's clearly bothering someone, then just be like, oh, sorry, I wasn't trying to be like that, or something. I don't know, like self-control.
Yeah.
You know, be aware in the moment.
Yeah, like we mentioned as well, like, an outburst here and there, just of general rage, isn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
It's much more when it becomes your standard go-to conversation strategy is insulting everyone on your team and stuff like that. That's when it's full-blown bad, rather than, oh, screw you, why didn't you get that kill, we would have won. It's fine. People are gonna get upset every once in a while. You don't have to suddenly become a soldier of virtue and peace and love. It's just about everyone becoming better so that everyone can enjoy video games more.
Yes. Because everybody should play. Everybody should get the chance to play and have fun.
Yeah.
You know what else is fun?
Oh, man. I was trying to end it on something that you can't make it right. There's no right way to say. Go ahead, do it, Jared. Freaking.
Well, for me personally, one of the games that I'm looking forward to the most this year is Cyberpunk 2077. You know, I'm a big fan of The Witcher. I'm a big fan of CD Projekt Red and how they do business and how they make games. So I'm really looking forward to this. I love Cyberpunk setting. One recent story that came out, and it's a really short article.
Let's not bring size into this, come on.
Is that Cyberpunk 2077 is going to feature, among many things, customizable genitalia. So what that means, I'm not exactly sure, honestly.
Well, it means you can, like, adjust certain elements of your Tallywhacker or Fairy Cave. It's very simple.
Well, I think what I think it probably means is in a lot of games, when you have a character creation, you've got the little slidey bars, and you can it adjust like how buff your arms are or how thick your legs are. I think it's meaning you're going to be able to adjust boobies, booties, and bulgies.
Yeah.
If it goes into any more detail than that, I mean, how is this not a rated AO game? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I will say, in general, I am a fan of this, not for the first reason that everyone will think, but character customization in general. The more advanced we get, the happier I am.
Yeah.
Because no matter how good a character customization chart thingy is so far, none have ever been good enough that I could, like, replicate myself, which isn't specific to this, I want to point out, but is to the general, just more characteristics. The big thing for me, actually, is, like, shoulders. Like, you can often make a character more generically buff or chubby or whatever,
Right.
but just having more of that individual customization. Because I personally am someone with very long arms, fairly scrawny, and huge shoulders, which I have never been able to make in a character customization thing. Never properly to my proportions. And every single advancement, even when it's a kind of funny one like this, is something I'm a fan of.
Well, it makes you wonder if they're going to let us change those features, then maybe there'll be more precise feature changing, like shoulders, and because I've seen the ability to change specific body parts using mods in games, but never just straight up in the game. You can, like you said, it's just like body, big or not big.
Yep.
Well, I know there was another game that Sarge and I have both played, happened to be a survival game, that did have this kind of customization, which we mentioned before, which was Conan Exiles.
Yeah.
A lot of survival games, if not most, start you with basically nothing, including no clothes. So, you have that option. There was also a sensor option, of course, in the game.
I mean, a lot of games in general do have kind of like modesty apparel, which is underwear of some sort. Like the Fallout and Skyrim, or Fallout and Elder Scrolls, franchises are the ones that always stand out to me. Because if you completely unequip your characters in either of those franchises, you've got like era-appropriate underwear on at all times. So you never truly end up in just a birthday suit.
I think the only one that did do that was like Arena, like one of the very old.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually.
I mean,
Elder
could
Scrolls
you even
games.
tell back in that game?
Very
they
It's like,
pixelated. So-
that pixel is slightly flesh-colored, maybe?
Well, I think that there were instances where your character was depicted through like a painting or drawing, concept art kind of thing, with everything.
Oh.
Because I remember watching a video about it, and they actually like censored out the area. So I've never actually seen it because I've never really played those really older Elder Scrolls that much. But I think you're right about that.
I only found out yesterday that I actually own them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So
Don't know when
you're
I got
gonna
them.
do a full playthrough with the same character of all of them?
I'm tempted. I mean, I checked on the Bethesda launcher and I was like, oh, what games have I got in my library? And I'm like, wow, I've got like 3 times as many games here as I thought. So I'm guessing I just got them given to me at some point, along with like the couple of games I've actually bought on there.
Sweet.
Yeah. Well, I'm checking. If you've got the Bethesda launcher, anyone out there, and you're on PC, do check just what your games in your library are, because you might have more games than you realised.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure they've just given away like all the old games.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Hey guys, we're done with news. After about an
Wow.
hour,
Woo.
we've now finally moved on to our Fallout topic, and I think it might be a good one. When I was thinking about it, and now that Sarge said he's gonna like shatter my hopes and dreams with the topic itself. The topic is talking about Bethesda's power fantasy when it comes to becoming the leaders of factions, being like the penultimate goal of a lot of the faction storylines in their games, as opposed to interplays when they did their older Fallout games, more mediator type role, or person who exists in the world is not necessarily able to climb the ranks as they do in Bethesda games. Because if it's done well, I don't know if we can open with this. If it's done well, if you become the leader of a faction, you actually have powers that you can delegate.
Right.
That's good, because your character can somewhat feel like a leader. It won't be complete, obviously, because like all the work was put into the story leading up until that point. In a lot of cases, with like Oblivion and Skyrim and Fallout 4. I couldn't think of any examples in Fallout 3, because I think that was the foray, introduce everyone to...
Curse you!
Okay.
Oh.
This is supposed to be my slam, which you're just casually breezing over.
Oh, no.
The fact you've hugely generalised it as Bethesda's power fantasy, when really it's just a few different factions in a couple of games that you end up kind of leader as. Rest of them, you are much more of a mediator role. Curse you for not letting me get a dramatic one out of that.
Oh, dang.
Well, you could have waited. Like I
Yeah, but I've had to wait for like 2 hours to say this. I couldn't contribute to the discussion pre-PIPCAST because I knew I'd just ruin it all.
we took a break. That gave me more time to think about it. So that's you suggested the break. That's on you.
I was dying over here. It's baking hot.
Well, I think the people listening get the idea. I think that the faction leader result of quest lines is kind of a cheap way to do it and a cop-out. Unless you are given actual power with the position. Because if it's just a powerless position like that doesn't mean anything. You just say, I'm a leader of the Brotherhood or whatever.
I mean, the one that really does stand out and kind of back up your point is when you become General of the Minutemen.
Yeah, they give you that at the beginning of the game.
That's kind of like the meme-y, jokey one almost, because it's like, oh, hey, you saved us, you're now General. Oh, cool, what does that mean? It means you obey me.
It means there's a settlement that needs our help.
Yeah. Didn't you know generals typically just individually go and help every single person in the faction? That's what generals do, right?
and your leadership power extended to firing off flares to like summon very low-leveled Minutemen that will die instantly, and also Preston Garvey, who you get pretty annoyed with pretty quickly. So
I will say though, one Bethesda game where I do kind of like how they do the end faction, you've become the leader or a leadership role kind of sort of thing, is Oblivion with the Dark Brotherhood. Because even though from a gameplay perspective I wasn't a huge fan, from an actual making sense and being right thing, when you become like, I'm trying to do this without too many spoilers, because if you want to go back and play Oblivion, I can give it a thumbs up. I did a lot of that. Hence I'm talking about the Dark Brotherhood, because I only just completed it the other day. But, once you become, like, the leader of that, it's suddenly like, oh, just come back each week, and we'll give you some money from, like, the assassinations and stuff which all the other members are doing, and which you don't need to get involved with anymore. And give us, like, the odd contract and thing. And that was like, oh, this completely makes sense for the role I've now got as one of the top people in the Dark Brotherhood. This is exactly how it would be. It's boring as all hell, but it's exactly how it would be.
You've earned that boring.
Yeah.
Skyrim does have a bit of a turn like that in the Dark Brotherhood questline, but it's more like only managerial in the sense of like dealing with the hideout kind of thing.
Yeah, Skyrim takes what the Oblivion one did, makes it kind of less feel like you're a proper leader and give you the full perspective of what the leader would be like in Oblivion, but by reducing kind of some of the realism and some of the kind of like grandeur of what actually being a leader is like, they still let you do lots of like assassination contracts and have more fun with it. So I think Skyrim made it a bit more fun, if not being like quite the same impact, because you're basically doing the same stuff, but the stuff you were doing was fun, so you want to keep doing it.
Yeah, I did want to bring up the Fighters Guild in Oblivion, because you've been playing Oblivion more recently, right?
Haven't touched the Fighters Guild.
Haven't touched the Fighters Guild. Okay.
Yep.
But I think the Fighters Guild, you become the leader in some capacity in Oblivion. I know that's how the mages colleges work. But the companions in Skyrim is basically the Fighters Guild, and you become the Harbinger.
Yeah.
At the end of that one too.
I will say, I think Skyrim overall is the game that stands out worst for the whole you are now the leader of this faction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does it too much. Like, even I'm willing to admit on that one.
And way too quick.
Yeah.
Like, you do a handful of quests and boom, you are now the grand leader of our entire thing. We barely know you, but we trust you implicitly. Now lead us forever.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
I think they were banking on the thing that your attention span is supposed to be really short. So you'll do one of their quests and then you'll see something in the distance. You'll be like, what is that? And then go over there.
Shiny.
Yeah, if you focus on a lot of the faction quests, you're just like, oh, it's been 2 hours, I'm now in charge.
Yeah. That's absolutely how it is for the Mages College too. Like,
yeah, Mages College is...
It's the majority of Skyrim factions, honestly.
Yeah.
The Thieves Guild kind of paced out a bit,
but
only for like the very last hurdle.
Yeah.
It was like, to actually become master, you have to complete all of these tons of side quests, some of which are semi-random, and even if you're doing it like the most efficient way possible, it's going to be hours upon hours upon hours.
Yeah. The Thieves Guild had a lot more side job opportunities though too. Like you could pick and choose.
Yeah, but it's also a case of it's basically just a ceremonial title and a few unique pieces of equipment you get at the very end, and just like the step down from that is essentially the same, just missing out on a few things.
Yep. I would say since this is a Fallout topic though, we should probably bring up Fallout 4.
Take it back to Fallout so I can slam down on how you're wrong about Fallout 4 to an extent, or at least over-exaggerating.
Go for it. So we have the Minuteman and Preston Garvey. You're handed the position of leader like at the very beginning. You're just like, what do I do? And Preston's like, what I tell you. And I'm like, well, that doesn't seem like a leader position. Same situation with the Institute if you decide to side with them. And that's like the quote unquote evil kind of choice, because everybody is kind of against the Institute in Fallout 4. So you're essentially burning all of your bridges when you decide to ally with them. So I think they attempted to make it like you're leader of the board now too, or the board of directors with the Institute by the time you hit the end of the game. And
I will say with the Institute, that one kind of makes sense in a way I don't like in a real world perspective, where it's like hereditary, and you're getting it because you're the child of the person who's in charge, which is far too realistic for my liking. Mm-hmm. But
nepotism.
At least, nepotism. That's the thing I was trying to work out in my head. Yeah.
Or you're related to the person in charge.
Yeah. But Caedo, you do know children are related to their parents, right?
Yeah, but you're the parent of Sean, not the child of Sean.
That is true.
No, you're the child, because timey-wimey wobbly-wobbly.
All right.
You're younger, so you must be the child. Come on, Caedo, this is easy.
Okay. It's simple
He's
math.
Father, I mean, come on.
Father is my father, Dad.
Yeah. See, you're getting it.
There you go.
Gotcha. So I was really excited because I always knew that when you take the negative or the bad path, a lot of the time, sometimes a lot of corners are cut, a lot of opportunities are missed because not as many players gravitate towards the bad choices.
Yeah.
Which I will give credit, I guess, a little bit. But
very reluctantly here.
A little bit. But being the part of the board of directors and like the head of that, because that's how they do their decision making, is every director from each division heads.
There we go. I've legitimately got a headache thinking of that. That was the actual pain to get there.
I must be immersed.
Immersion.
Frickin' okay. Yeah. So each of the division heads, you get to know them through like their side quest in the introduction. I think they force you through that part anyway. Introduction of the Institute and what they're doing. It would have been really cool if you had some sense of control over what they were focusing on, because this is such an advanced place, like one of the most advanced locations in the Fallout universe, and you can't do anything with it. You just feel like it could have been like a radiant location, like just where some farmers are or something like that. And you need to have some kind of like eyes in the sky, or because like the crows, the birds are synths too, or just like anything. Man, there's heavily leading on the synth thing too. Like you could lead synth troops to a location.
I mean, you get the synth grenades, which is like the closest to that, I suppose. There definitely was a lot more potential they could have worked with there.
Yeah, and the synth companion to not Curie, the other one, X688 wasn't a very interesting guy.
What?
What?
You mean the monotone robot man with no personality was not interesting for you?
There could have been more done with him too in that respect.
I mean, the other synth companion is very interesting, I'd argue.
Curie?
No, I don't want to say because it's actually a spoiler.
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm catching on. Sorry.
Jeez.
You're talking about Nick Valentine.
Yeah.
Totally.
I actually forgot about him. There's only 3 on there. Jeez, there's too many. There's like 3.5 synth companions in the game.
Everybody's a synth. It's fine. Yeah, Strong's a synth. Everybody's a synth.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that goes a little far off topic. What I'm glad that was cut content, I will also be like, I'm so happy that this didn't happen, was there was a side quest that was cut to usurp Maxon in the Brotherhood of Steel. And I'm glad that wasn't included, because the end result of that side quest that was cut was you becoming the Elder of the Brotherhood of Steel, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It would have fell in line with their track record, though.
Maxon's entire life was learning the ways and the rules and how to be a military leader. It's in his entire life. He can't just show up and be like, well, I lead you guys now. Throw the rule book in the trash.
Which,
it doesn't.
Honestly, I think that any of the factions, that's how it should be. Like, you got all these people in important positions for a reason. I think the only exception should be in, like, maybe the odd case, like in like World War II, you had what they call it, field promotions.
Yeah.
When the people who were in charge were killed, the only ones left were the lowers, and they were made to be put in charge. I think if you had that situation happen on a rare occasion, it would make it feel a little bit more special. But otherwise,
you get field promoted with the Brotherhood.
Do you?
I mean, you get sponsored to actual promotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dance gives you a field promotion initially, so you can actually become a member of the Brotherhood. And then it's not until you go aboard the Pridwin that you can be like officially added into the faction.
I suppose what I'm referring to is like doing that, but with other factions that just give you the title of leader of all. So instead of having all these factions that eventually lead you to being the Grand Master or the leader or whatever, just don't have that, but maybe have like one or two, like the Brotherhood, where you do get put into that position because of people dying or whatever.
I have a good example.
Okay.
Of what you're trying to get across.
Save it, please.
Okay.
I can't quite illustrate what I'm trying to say.
So Sarge has been playing Oblivion. The story of Martin Septim and basically just the entire story of Oblivion and how it begins is the Emperor is killed as part of the tutorial.
Right.
And even though you are the character, the person that sets things in motion, the main plot still involves the only remaining heir of the Emperor, and nobody else can take this due to predestined positions or whatever. But because of that doesn't put you in the position of, oh, I'm the Emperor now.
Right.
which is good. That actually makes the story a lot more interesting to follow along with, because you are the hand that helps, but you're not just riding a roller coaster, and you're also not having the ultimate goal of becoming a demigod kind of thing. You become powerful like a demigod, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think it is a fine line for trying to make it engaging with a faction and their arc, whatever it may be, and like absolute power, like because players want that, right? They want that fun factor, whatever power they may be given for working with that faction, but it can also be still set within something that's believable and makes more sense, which is kind of probably what we're all trying to get at.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need to be the protagonist of a story to still have real agency.
Yeah.
And shying away from that is often the better choice.
Yes.
Very reluctant agreement.
That was hard for me to wrap my head around. That's all.
I don't know if this example's going to help or make things worse. Who's your favorite character in the original Star Wars? Silence. There's one option here, people.
Luke.
That's wrong.
I was gonna say Boba Fett.
That's wrong as well. I don't think he's even in the original.
Baby Yoda.
Okay, it's Han Solo. It's obviously Han Solo. And he's not the protagonist, but he's who everyone wants to be because he's still got a bunch of agency to him and he's an interesting side character. And you want to be the Han Solo in a video game. That way you're not becoming like the preordained destined person, but you still have so much important stuff you're doing while still being able to kind of mold yourself and be an interesting character.
You're still a hero, you're just not the main focus.
Yeah.
You know, you're still relevant. You're just not.
I like the Martin Septim example.
It works.
It's so much easier to attribute. I mean, I know this is a Fallout topic. It's so much easier to talk about Elder Scrolls with this topic, though. Because
That's
I feel
kind
like
of
Elder Scrolls does it more than Fallout does.
Yes, because Fallout doesn't actually do it that much, which is like my whole big slam point. Because Fallout 4 does it with like 2 of the factions properly. Fallout 3 doesn't do it at all. 76 doesn't do it either. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Caedo, but I think I'm agreeing with him on this.
Oh no!
I control the majority. The power is all mine.
I'm sitting
now
here.
I am the leader of a faction.
Oh yeah, lead us.
Yep. Sorry, Caedo. I take over your channel now. That's how this works.
All right, Sarge. What's my radiant quest?
Oh man.
You just have to go out and pick flowers. It's not at all relevant to running a YouTube channel, but it was easy to implement, so we just did it quickly.
Awesome, thank you.
Is there a mission to go kill rats? Please.
I do have allergies, though. Is there like an allergy?
Oh no, I'm afraid you just died during the Radiant quest.
Crap.
It's a scripted death though, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh no.
It's springtime. I'm gonna die.
Oh, what is happening?
I'm not gonna be able to see the flowers I'm picking. I might pick the wrong ones.
I do want to add in though, as one point because I briefly mentioned it, that I do think Fallout 76 with Wastelanders does it very well. Because you don't become the leader of a faction. You don't even get, like, a significant position. You are very much just an outsider who has something of value to contribute, so you're kind of allowed into the faction and slowly get respected the more you help them.
Yeah.
You're more of like a mercenary?
Yeah, actually, that's a very good way to go about it.
Okay.
And I think it's easier to work into a big multiplayer game like that, because you do have to grind it out over time, and that's kind of the
nature of an online game?
Yeah, the nature of an online game. Versus a single-player game, where a lot of the comments I've had recently about like reputation and stuff is clearly people who are more used to single-player games who do just want to rush straight to the top level within like 5 or 6 hours, which you can't do in the online game.
Yeah, it's not realistic in an online game. If you want it to survive anyway.
Yep.
Balance is one thing. That is one thing that, you know, everybody should into consideration. But, like, there's going to be a grind no matter what. I did use The Witcher as an example, too. Or write it down, at least, as an example. But I was trying to come up with other examples outside of Bethesda that does these Bethesda-isms that I'm hoping that somebody in the comments can tell us, too. Because I actually want to know if there's any other games that do this. They're like, you are the leader, but your responsibilities consist of basically nothing, and your powers also consist of basically nothing. I want to hear if you all know like what other games can do this. But as I was saying, on the other side of this coin, The Witcher 3 has a very much or The Witcher in general, you exist in this world as Geralt of Rivia, and you have to earn people's trust. It's very much an uphill struggle, and a lot of the time, because of the choice and consequence thing, like the consequences are usually never completely good, or usually not completely good. If you climb the ranks of a faction, one example comes to mind, like in Novigrad, like the crime lords. Like if you get up to a certain point, they can still turn on you. Like that's always a question kind of thing, and like. Then the faction is no more, or something to that effect. It's not like you have, you know, beaten the leader, you're now their leader. They're just like, well, our leader's dead.
We no longer exist.
Yeah, pretty much. It seems to leave a lot more open too towards the end of whatever faction storyline you're running to. But yeah, I just want to hear about more examples, or if this is a true like Bethesda-ism type thing that. That's all.
I'm still bugged by you calling it a Bethesda-ism.
But what should I call it?
It's a real generalization. because it's like a little bit of a few of their games.
Call it an Elder Scrollism.
Yeah, I personally go for a Skyrimism more than anything.
A Skyrimism.
Well,
Skyrim's the one that does it to like a degree that I'd count as properly significant.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Fallout 4 is only like half of the main factions plus Nuka World. Nuka World does.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
that definitely does.
Yeah. Nuka World, it actually makes proper sense for you to go in, kill the guy in charge, and then get promoted though, because that's like ultra raiderish thing to do.
Yeah.
That's like the one faction where you can properly get away with that.
Jared suggested Fable, but I don't know enough about Fable to.
Yeah. And I don't remember. It's been too long since I played those games. I feel like one of them you become. I can't remember if you are already king or if you become the king.
You become a king in Fable 3?
And then I think you do continue with like kingly duties after the main game for a little bit. I don't remember though, and I don't remember if they're significant. Like you don't really feel like a king because you're just kind of like, I don't know. Like I said, it's been so long since I played it. I mean, I could be completely wrong.
And I've never played it. Mine comes entirely from watching YouTube videos which talk about it somewhat.
Yeah.
But I think you're talking about the right thing. We'll just assume you're right.
Yeah.
Jared's right.
Yeah. Unless I'm not, in which case I'm sure someone will let us know.
Yep.
Which is fine. I'm totally okay with that, actually.
Yeah. I liked this topic very
Yeah.
much, talking about it. And and I was really excited for Sarge to yell at me about Fallout 3.
He yelled
Fallout
at you.
3 doesn't have it at all. It's like there's not proper factions in Fallout 3 as such.
Yeah, there's not,
Yeah.
is there?
No.
It's more just like an introductory thing. There are still some issues that I had with Fallout 3 regarding the factions, but it wasn't that you become the leader. But this was also a revival of the Fallout franchise, so
Yeah.
That's true.
Bring it back from the dead.
Yeah.
Until Obsidian came back and actually made it good, because all the Bethesda games suck. Oh, I just can't help myself.
all the groundwork Bethesda put down means nothing.
Yeah, screw them for actually doing a lot of the hard work that technically went into New Vegas. No, it doesn't matter.
Obsidian did everything.
Yeah.
Obsidian's the new leader.
I feel like Obsidian's the final person in a relay
Oh my God.
race.
Good point, Jared.
And then when it gets to that, it's just you hold that person up as the one who did it and ignore all the other people in the race.
Obsidian's the faction leader.
Yeah.
Is what Jared was saying.
Oh.
All the expectations are on them instead of whatever.
Yeah. And they don't do anything now within the Fallout franchise.
Right.
Exactly.
It's just a title.
Oh wait, no. What about Fallout in Space?
Wait, what?
No.
Wait, what?
No.
Sorry,
No.
New Vegas in space.
Wait, what?
No. Outer Worlds kept being described as New Vegas in space up to its release,
It
but
was-
it's nothing like that.
It made me mad too.
I mean, it controls somewhat like New Vegas, but that's only a point against it, if anything.
I thought maybe we were talking about Mothership Zeta.
No,
Oh.
that's the thing. We've had Fallout in space, technically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
I feel like maybe we should wrap up this topic now, because we've had a lot of tangents with it.
Yeah.
I've been jabbering on for a while. I would like to say, what is your opinion, listener, who I'm speaking to individually? What do you think is like a good balance to have with the whole position within a faction compared to the powers you actually get? And what game do you think does it best? What game do you think does it worst? Let us know in the comments.
Yes, please do. And you could be featured in the comment of the cast.
Yeah, could be read out in a stupid voice. That's something to look forward to.
So can we do the what have we been doing part?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mine's boring.
Oh, let's start with Caedo then.
Okay. We'd also like to know, those of you in the comments, what you've been doing, because, like I said, mine's boring, what I've been doing and playing and working on. Haven't been working on actually very much at all. I've been having troubles with motivation, so I've been instead playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, still, again, more. Fallout 76, more. And Borderlands 3 with Sarge a little bit yesterday and by myself also. And fired up some Beat Saber, because it had been a while and I hadn't seen or hadn't tried any of the couple new songs that got put up in the game, and there's a new one that is based around much more body movement. So it's got more obstacles that you have to dodge while you're playing Beat Saber, and it actually, is more for staying active than the rest of those. Most of it's just flailing your arms, but yeah, this one was more obstacle oriented, which was pretty cool. I want to see more songs like that. But yeah, that's it, really.
Right on.
Sarge?
Yes, I have also been playing Borderlands 3, a bit with Caedo, and a bit before the live stream, and probably some afterwards as well, because one thing I do want to mention is the whole cartel thing. The music they've got going and the location is really nice. I very much dig it. Mm-hmm. It's very good.
Same.
But obviously been working on Fallout 76, because I've been doing like near daily uploads on the game for the past couple of weeks. With the whole Wastelanders coming out, I've had tons of stuff. Yesterday will have been a character build, a starter build, so if anyone is picking up Fallout 76 with the Wastelanders update, I have made a build which is kind of very generic, very good, incredibly strong, just a level 15 build, which should help you out and make things a bit easier. I've mostly been getting legacy views on like my beginner's guide, my backpack video, and the fixer. My Discord is constantly filled with people asking for fixers. It's getting ridiculous. Wow. But I've been playing a lot of that, making tons of videos, got tons of news stuff coming up in the near future as well, and I've also struggled a few times with motivation because I've overworked myself, and in those times I've been playing Sniper Ghost Warrior 3,
Whoa.
which, yeah, because I like sniping people.
But aren't you sniping Ghost Warriors?
No, you're a Sniper Ghost Warrior, because you got a sniper for the sniper part of it, where your rifle and all your stability and stuff, and you got the ghost part of it for sneaking around with your silenced pistol.
Oh, I thought you were haunting places.
No, then you got the warrior for when you charge him with like an AK and just shoot everyone, because you've got bored of being stealthy.
So you're not an ancient warrior's ghost who happens to have a sniper rifle?
No, you're Mr. America, generic protagonist of the video games.
Nice.
Well, I'm less interested in playing it now.
Foreign country. One of those ones, you know?
As Americans, we don't like playing games as Americans. Come on, dude.
To be, like, the whole plot and everything about it is, like, I don't know what's going on. I don't pay attention to it. It's not particularly good. The fun of it is literally just, I can wander around this open world and snipe people and infiltrate places and do fun stuff.
I want to say, too, Jared, besides Metal Gear Solid is very good.
Oh. I haven't played it still.
Which we play as Americans.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, some of the time.
I was mostly being sarcastic, I guess.
I wanna play Metal Gear Solid some more. I miss it.
All right. Yeah, well, I bought it. I think I told you, but I haven't gotten to it.
Oh, MGS5?
Yeah, I remember I bought it for like $5, the definitive edition on the PS4. I was like, I can't pass that deal up because we were just talking about it. Mm-hmm. But I haven't gotten to it yet, but it's there.
Well, if you've not gotten to that, what else have you been playing?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Finally got back to some Fallout 76.
Oh.
Yeah, and I actually did a live stream of it.
Ooh,
which was cool. Yeah, it was like 3 a.m. It was a weird time. It was more of me. I've had when I first played Fallout 76, I had some connectivity issues where it kept kicking me out of the game, and I didn't know if it was my internet or if it was just the game. Sounds like it might have just been the game. It sounds like maybe that's a common issue. Maybe, I don't know, you guys would know more than me.
I will say after Wastelanders, private servers appear to be less stable and can crash more.
Well, I played after Wastelanders, and when I streamed it, I had no problems.
Hey.
So maybe it could have just been my internet at the time, that first time I was playing. I don't know. But I think I played for almost 3 hours. Obviously that means I didn't really get very far because there's a lot to do. But it was really cool. Just interacting with those first NPCs right outside the vault. I was like, oh my gosh, other NPCs that are not robots.
Yep.
This is starting to feel like Fallout.
Yeah, proper speech options.
Yeah.
What do you think of the whole speech system in general?
I mean, I haven't done that much talking, but I didn't have a problem with it. I don't remember anything that stood out about it.
Okay.
Why? You...
I think it's the best speech system out of all of the games, personally.
What?
Okay.
Sarge said something good.
Yeah, I did something good about 76. Well, to be fair, it's very similar to the Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas speech systems, just kind of updated.
Yeah.
It gives you a bit more clarity. It's just minor improvements over to that. So instead of like zooming in super and being locked into some weird angle, you can still like look around a bit whilst talking. You get chat history and all of that stuff. You can tab out very easily. It's literally just an improved version of those games' speech system.
I'll have to pay attention to it specifically. When I was playing it, it was probably the last thing I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Honestly,
and to be fair, it's not like anything huge.
Right.
It's just like minor improvements which make it better.
Right. Which is, I mean, the more I play it, I'm sure the more of those small things I'll notice. But yeah, no, I want to play more. I can't wait to play more. Like I said, it's starting to feel like Fallout. Because like I said before, and I know that you've heard a lot of people say it before, Wastelanders, it just felt empty.
Yeah.
And now it doesn't, you know. So I'm looking forward to that. But other than that, this next one is a weird one for me because I never in a million years thought that I would ever play a game, and it's called SnowRunners, and you're literally like you're off-roading. You're in a truck and you've got to drive through mud and get out of the mud.
Oh.
Like one of those type of games. And a buddy of mine was playing it and I was watching him play and I was like, this looks like it would be fun to play. So I bought it and I played. I'm like, this is strangely fun.
That's good.
So like just a vehicle simulation game?
Essentially, yeah. Like you do, there are objectives you can do, but a lot of it's just like, oh, I'm driving along and there's a bunch of mud and I've gotten stuck. Now I've got to figure out how to get out of it. Like, I don't do that sort of stuff in real life. Like, I'm not a good old boy. I'm not a, get my lifted truck out up there in the mud and get as much mud on me as I can kind of a thing. I just don't do that. I've got nothing against people that do. Everyone has their whatever they do for fun. It's just not me.
Yeah.
So I never thought that I would enjoy a game like that as much as I have been. So that was a big surprise. And it's a huge game. It's absolutely huge. But other than that, just doing a bunch, and I didn't write it down, but so maybe I will, but just because it's such a broad subject, it's just various indie games, because that's what I do on my channel, is a lot of indie games, a lot of indie horror games, and it's a different one every day, so it's hard to type down, one in particular, but just a bunch of different stuff, weird stuff, scary stuff, you name it.
Spooky stuff.
Yeah.
Creepy stuff.
That's
Dark
that's
stuff.
pretty much, man, all that good stuff, bro. That's about it, though. I've got tons of games I want to play. I just haven't had time to get to them.
I feel like we all might be kind of in that.
Yeah,
man. We don't have enough time.
Good games need to stop coming out is what needs to happen.
Yeah.
You're right. Need to become the faction leader of game development. Put a stop to that.
Just or like feign that I can put a stop to it, so I can at least be motivated to do something. If you want to check out any of our channels, you're here on mine. Obviously, you have an idea of what I do, I hope. Sarge's channel is linked down below. Sarge is doing a lot of cool stuff on Fallout 76. If you want to learn anything about Wastelanders, that's your guy. And Jared of Jared Gaming is doing some cool spooky Let's Plays and stuff like that. Are you doing anything else, Jared? And Sarge, I should ask.
Been trying to do more live streaming. I've started consistently live streaming on Sundays, just to try to do it more and get into a routine of live streaming. It's the best day for me at the moment because I do work a full-time job still. But yeah, I'm trying to do more live streaming. I've live streamed Fallout 76. I've live streamed a game called What the Golf. I'm just trying different things, seeing what sticks right now. It's a lot of fun. It's very casual. I played 7 Days to Die solo, which was really challenging actually.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about doing like maybe a Skyrim just for the heck of it, because I've played so much of it.
Yeah, Skyrim.
I know my way around it. Everyone likes it, so...
Yep.
Everyone's playing
I still get comments asking for more Skyrim videos.
all the time.
So yeah, that's the only other thing other than, like you said, the kind of like indie scary game Let's Plays, which is what I do mostly.
Live streaming lots of fun. And if you're part of like Caedo's notification squad, then at the point you're listening to me say this, I'm probably starting up my live stream right now.
Yeah, because it's about 2 hours in.
Yep.
So,
I'll be playing some Fallout 76.
yeah. If anything, join the Discord of any of us. Like, we all have fairly active communities. It's nice to come hang out. We have a Minecraft server on my Discord now. My amazing moderator Dakoba has set that up, and if people like it, we'll keep it around. And yeah, people have been enjoying it. That's all.
Cool.
With that, have a good rest of your next 2 weeks, and we'll catch you after those 2 weeks with another PIPCAST 3000. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands.